If you're building something right now, whether it's a company, a new product, or even a movement, it probably feels like the ground is shifting under your feet every single day. So, what we're going to do here is pull together a playbook for the modern builder. We're drawing on some of the sharpest thinkers out there to cover mindset, strategy, and this wild new tech landscape we're all navigating. Okay, let's get into it.
We're going to start with a pretty bold statement from Grant Cardone. His whole thing is that in a world facing some seriously unprecedented challenges, it's not going to be the big institutions that save us. It's going to be the entrepreneurs, the builders, you. It's a huge idea, and it puts the ball squarely in your court.
And look, this isn't just wishful thinking. The money is absolutely following the mission. A recent report showed that private investment in what's called deep tech, companies built on real scientific breakthroughs, well, it just exploded. It went from $15 billion in 2016 to over $62 billion in 2020. So the capital is definitely flowing to the people building what's next.
All right, so that tees up our first section perfectly, the new age of building. Because as that investment shows, this is a total double-edged sword. It's a time of absolutely massive opportunity for you. But man, it also comes with challenges that can feel completely new and frankly, kind of overwhelming.
And you know what? It's so important to just acknowledge that feeling. The pressure is insane. You might feel like you just don't have the right tools for what's coming at you. That's exactly what this playbook is for, to give you some of those tools, starting with the most important one you've got, your own mind.
So, where do we even begin? Well, this section is all about mastering your inner game. Because before you can build anything out there in the real world, you have to get the foundation right inside your own head. It's all about finding that balance between the fire of ambition and the quiet work of introspection.
So on one hand, you've got this raw, get-after-it ambition. Cardone's philosophy is pretty straightforward. Always be pushing forward. Always be expanding. He basically argues that the biggest risk isn't failing while you're going for it. It's failing because you got scared and started to pull back.
But, and this is a big but, all that forward momentum runs smack into this thing. The builder and writer Louis Morgner calls it the vision-reality gap. And what's so great about this concept is that it gives a name to that feeling, right? That almost physical ache you get when the thing you've built just doesn't yet match that perfect vision you have in your head.
Yeah, and this slide just nails that internal tug of war. On one side, you've got Cardone's 10x mindset pushing you to go bigger, to shoot for the moon. But then on the other side, Morgner reminds us that our own brain can be our worst enemy. It's an amazing storyteller, but a terrible fortune teller. It'll take one neutral fact, like a bug in your code, and spin this whole drama of failure and self-doubt around it.
So what do? How do you find your way through that mental noise? Morgner suggests using your purpose as a compass, and he points to this really powerful question from the psychoanalyst James Hollis. Every time you're at a crossroads, you just ask yourself this one thing. Does this path enlarge me, or does it diminish me? That's it. That's your guide.
Okay, so once we've got our head right, it's time to actually build something. So in this next section, we're getting into the nitty-gritty, the actual strategy, the blueprint for turning that inner purpose into something real out in the world.
And Morgner has the super practical way of looking at it. Forget the crazy 5-year plans. He says to treat finding product market fit like you're writing a book, chapter by chapter. Just, for the next 6, maybe 12 months, write down what the ideal ending looks like. And then, just work backward from there. What are the exact steps you need to take to make that ending a reality? Simple.
But here's the thing. You can't just be heads down in a basement building your product. This is where Grant Cardone's idea of omnipresence is so key. His point is honestly pretty blunt. If people don't know you exist, you're dead in the water. Your number one job as a business owner is to be everywhere in your market.
Okay, but even if you're everywhere, this right here is the golden rule. It cannot be broken. Morgner puts a hard number on it, and it's a real gut check. He says if you're not spending more than 80% of your time on the actual work of product market fit, that's talking to users, shipping product, and learning from the metrics, then everything else you're doing, it's just you avoiding the hard work. It's just procrastination.
And sometimes finding that fit isn't just about tweaking what you already have. That's where this idea of problem framing becomes so powerful. The real breakthroughs in deep tech aren't really about some fancy new technology. It's an entire approach. It's about going all the way back to the original problem and seeing it with totally fresh eyes, questioning every single assumption.
Which, of course, brings us to the biggest tool we have for reframing problems right now, artificial intelligence. You have to think of it as your new co-founder. But like any co-founder, it comes with its own complications.
I love this co-founder metaphor from Morgner. It just clicks, right?
Because AI isn't just another app on your computer anymore. It's a genuine, strategic partner that's fundamentally changing the game, making everything faster and cheaper than we ever thought possible.
But bringing this new co-founder onto the team? Yeah, it's not exactly plug and play. I mean, just take a look at this graph. Now, don't worry, you don't need to understand all the math here. The point is to show you just how incredibly complex this gets, really fast. Every little choice you make about your AI, how you measure quality, what you charge, it all creates these huge ripple effects and deep trade-offs.
But all of that crazy complexity really boils down to some pretty straightforward but really tough questions you have to answer. And a huge one is this idea of algorithmic transparency. Do you make your algorithm public to build trust, even though you know people will absolutely try to game the system? Or do you keep it a black box? That is a massive strategic decision in this new age. And whichever way you go on that, this right here is probably the most important piece of advice for working with your new AI co-founder. Morgner warns about what he calls the illusion of speed. He says, look, use these tools for leverage, use them to go faster, but do not outsource your judgment to them. The hard thinking, that's still on you. All right, so we've talked mindset, we've talked strategy, we've talked about the whole AI frontier. Now, for our final section, let's put all of these pieces together. This is your World Positives Playbook. This is the modern builder's code. And the glue that holds this whole thing together, the final piece of the puzzle, comes from an idea championed by the venture firm Obvious Ventures. They basically say that none of this strategy matters unless it's all driven by a clear purpose, by your values. They call it being world positive, having a mission that's not just about making money, but about solving the hard stuff, the things that actually move humanity forward. So when you put it all together, this is what the playbook looks like. Think 10x. That's Cardone's relentless ambition. Embrace the vision-reality gap, knowing it's going to be messy in the middle. Frame the problem. Don't just solve what's in front of you. Redefine it. Aim for omnipresence. You've got to get known. Make AI your co-founder, but remember, you're still the boss. And then wrap it all in that final principle. Lead with world-positive values.
So there you have it. A playbook packed with some pretty powerful tools and mindsets. But at the end of the day, that's all they are. Tools in a toolbox. The real work, the important work, starts right now. And it starts with a question that only you can answer. With this playbook in your hands, what problem are you going to reframe?